Good day, grade 6 learners. Welcome to our video lesson in Science 6, Quarter 1, Module 5, Lesson 2. We will be discussing today the separating of mixtures through sieving. For our objectives in today's video lesson, we have number 1, separate solid particles from another solid particles using sieving. Number 2, appreciate the use of sieving in separating mixtures. Sieving is used to separate smaller solid particles from larger solid particles. For example, the mixture of different size solid particles can be put into a container that has a screen material at the bottom with the holes of a certain size. When the mixture is shaken, the smaller particles go through the screen, leaving the larger particles in the container. Cooks, for example, sieve flour to get a small size particle for baking, leaving the larger particles of flour in the sifter above the screen. Sand and gravel companies, for example, separate rocks into different size particles for road building and other construction projects using this method. Let's watch this.
Children, have you seen how your mother removes bran and other impurities from flour? They separate the coarse bran from the fine flour with the help of a sieve. This technique of using a sieve to separate the solid components of different sizes in a mixture is known as sieving. In this method, the mixture is placed on the sieve and shaken. The smaller particles pass through the holes of the sieve to the container placed below and are thus separated from the bigger particles that are retained in the sieve.
So there you have it, grade 6 learners, a short video clip on how sieving is done. This time, let us read carefully each item and then write true if the statement is correct and false if it is not correct. Use a separate sheet of paper for your answer. This will be your independent activity number 1. So be ready to answer. Let's start. Number 1. Plant, sand and gravel companies separate rocks into different size particles for road building and other construction projects using sieving. True or false? Number 2. A combination of different qualities, things, or emotions in which the component elements are individually distinct is called mixture. Number 3. A sieve is a utensil consisting of a wire or plastic mesh held in a frame used for straining solids from liquids, for separating coarser from finer particles, or for reducing soft solids to a pulp. True or false? Number 4. Filtration is used to separate smaller solid particles from larger solid particles. True or false? Next, number 5. For construction workers, sieving is very important to separate big rocks from sand. True or false? Number 6. In making leche flan, oil and water can be separated through sieving. Separated through sieving. Number 7. Miners can separate the gold from sand through evaporation. True or false? Next, number 8. We generally use sieve plates for the separation of flour from the bran particles before cooking bibingka. True or false? Number 9. Through sieving, grinded chili cannot separate the powder from the seed. True or false? And the last one, number 10. There are other activities in the community that shows benefits of sieving. True or false? What are some of the advantages of sieving? We can say that sieving is a traditional and very easy method of separation since it does not require much of our skills. It is a cheap method as the installation cost is very low. It takes lesser time in comparison to other methods of separation. What about the disadvantages of sieving? Sieving is defined as a method in which two or more components of different sizes are separated from a mixture on the basis of the difference in their sizes. Thus, it cannot separate two substances in a mixture which have the same size. For example, it cannot separate a mixture of chalk powder from a flour. Okay, this time, let us going to answer these exercises for our independent activity number 2. For the directions, it says here, put a check mark if the statement is true and a cross mark if it is false. Write your answers on a separate sheet of paper. Number 1. Sieving is a simple technique of separating particles of different sizes. Check or wrong? Number 2. Sifting is also known as sieving. Check or X? Number 3. Foods that are big in size and shape can still be sifted. Check or X? Next, number 4. Sieve flour to get a small size particle. For baking, leaving larger particles of flour in a sifter above the screen. Check or cross? And number 5. Separate rocks into different size particles for road building and other construction projects using sieving. Check or cross? Let's try to answer these questions in your own opinion as we discuss the lesson about sieving. Number 1. What do you mean by sieving? Next question. How do you describe sieving as one of the techniques in separating mixtures? So write your answers in a separate sheet of paper, and then we will proceed to the next one. Okay, this time we are going to do an activity which is entitled Sieving as One. For your assignment yesterday, your teacher let you prepare the materials to be used in our activity for today. Do you have your materials? I guess so. So for our materials, we will be needing 2 plastic cups, tablespoon, flour, plastic sifter or metal sifter, record notebook, a timer or watch, and sugar. Okay. So what are we going to do with that? Okay, the first procedure will be prepare all materials in a table. The first activity, get a cup, 2 tablespoons of sugar and a flour. Mix together and sieve. Number 3, record the time and list down how many seconds or minutes you perform the activity. Our guide questions. Number 1, take down your observations during the activity. The process, the results, your findings. Number 2, is sieving a good way to separate mixtures? Why? So all of this, write that in your activity notebook in science. Okay, this time, let us test your memory. Okay, let's do it. For the direction, says clap twice if the picture shows sieving, and once if not. Are you ready? Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. And number 5. Very good, grade 6 learners. Congratulations! For this activity, independent activity number 3, directions. Complete the sentences below by supplying the missing word or words and answer the questions that follow. Use a sheet of paper to write your answer. Okay. So you have 2 circles there. You have to express your answers inside the circle. Sieving is blank. And the benefits of sieving are: next, aside from what we have discussed, can you give another example of mixture separated through sieving? And of course, on the other hand, what are their benefits? Write that also in your activity notebook. Okay, so I can say that you're doing a good job. We would like to thank our development team of the module in our video lesson. We have the writer, yours truly, our editor, Dr. Jennifer B. Ferrer, our reviewer, Dr. Jesusa B. Macam, Our layout artist at Sir Alexander R. Brockett. The management team, headed by Dr. Lourdes D. Servido, CISA 6, OIC SDS. Dr. Justado I. Cayabyab, our CESA 6, ASDS. Of course, we have also our Chief CID, Dr. Editha R. Pridas, and our EPS LRMS, Dr. Arlene B. Cacique. Thank you so much for listening and devoting your time in our video lesson. I am Teacher Alpha May Tambalgacana, Master Teacher 1 of Agdao Integrated School, your teacher presented. Bye!